worked for many years before children. I am working on a second degree, which has been taking a very long time. My youngest daughter is now 11 years old. She has a rare condition called osteogenesis imperfecta and epilepsy. So, layman's terms, she has brittle bones, so she breaks often. We have many appointments every week in Hamilton and Sick Kids Toronto that we have to travel for. She requires treatment from Shriners Montreal several times a year. And on any given day, I can be called to pick her up from school because she's broken a bone and needs to go to the hospital, or because she's had a seizure and just needs to come home. The reason I'm explaining all this to you is not because I want you to feel sorry for her, because trust me, she's a feisty young thing. Instead, I want to share with you how basic income has changed our lives. Since the time I was a single mom, I have remarried, and we are still living, even though my husband works full-time, in poverty. We are the working poor. There was a night that will stick in my mind forever. My little girl had broken her leg. I didn't have any way to get her to the hospital, and I should also add that I'm not on Ontario Works or on ODSP, so if I was to call an ambulance, even though it's there right in the moment, it is a $75 bill that comes to me later that I still can't afford. So at this particular night, I didn't really have a choice, so I drove down to the hospital, and I couldn't leave her in the hospital by herself and go park the car. And I couldn't park the car if she had a broken leg and have her travel to the hospital. So I parked underneath and I just hoped for the best. And while I was in the hospital trying to concentrate on my daughter, I was sending every friend and family that I could think of a text message to come down to the hospital and bring me the money to get my car out of the parking lot. I am really, really lucky to have the support of friends and family, and somebody did come down that day, and they did give us the money to get out of parking. So the very first thing I did with my basic income payment was to buy parking passes. And every month, I stock up on parking passes, and I never let it go so that there's never a day that I don't have an emergency parking pass in my car. So I will never have to worry about how I'm going to get her to the hospital again. Basic income has given me the security I need to relieve some of the stress of my everyday life. It's constant worry when you're a mom of special needs children. And adding money worries to it could sometimes make me feel that I was completely broken and that there was no way out. It drained a lot of my energy trying to figure out how to pay the bills and how to make sure that all of my children's needs are met every day. I am a better mom because of basic income. I can focus my energy on my children instead of on my stresses over money. I am able to complete my education, which has sat in limbo for a long time, because even though I qualified for some assistance with my education, each course still was $70 out of my pocket. So now I've gone back to school to finish my last 2 courses, and I honestly don't know what I would do without basic income. I do hope that when my daughter is older and she is more independent, that I'll be able to go to work and I will have my social service worker degree to be able to back me up. For now, it just feels good to know that at the end of a long day with my daughter, I can afford to buy her that drink she wants after physiotherapy. And I know that some of these things would seem like very little minute things to you, but they are a big deal in our lives. I'm thankful that to be able to take part of this program, because I hope that it will show the world that with a little hand up, people can be empowered to make the positive changes in their lives. The positivity that I have today radiates to the children that I am raising. Thank you very much for taking the time to hear just a small part of our story.
Alana. I'm sure some of you have either heard me speak or have read my story in the various outlets. But I'm here today. I want to start off with a quote from one of my favorite women, and that's Eleanor Roosevelt, who once said, "The future belongs to those who see the beauty of their dreams." As a survivor, someone who survived abuse, sexual abuse, poverty, mental health, life in general, poverty has almost been a life killer when you bring down to it. It drains everything. I was previously on Ontario Disability Support Program, which, while it's considered the better social service supports in Ontario, the only way it's better is that it's marginally more financially. When I got on basic income, I think my lucky stars, because I was 100% convinced, my luck being my luck, I would not be accepted, I would not be approved. I'd be lucky to get considered for the control group. But turned around, somehow I actually got approved, shocked me, and I'm not one who shocks easily. I grew up in poverty. Shock is not something that happens. And since getting on basic income, my life has improved, and so I couldn't even begin to count on my toes and my fingers, and like to other people's toes and fingers, how many ways my life has changed. I have suffered from mental health issues. Since being on basic income, I've been able to actually have my mental health be stable for longer than a month and not be triggered every month. The biggest trigger I've always had has been finances, not having enough food. And being in poverty, I'm being triggered every damn day just trying to survive that very day. Now, I'm not being triggered each and every day. I was actually looking in my cupboards yesterday, and I actually can't fit anything in my cupboard anymore. I've got more than enough pasta, canned goods, like there's no more room to put food in my fridge. And that is the first time in nearly 30 years that has ever happened to me. Now, I've got to work on my fridge to get it to that point. But that has been one of the bigger things, is being able to eat healthily. As a result of having a full cupboard, a full fridge, my acid reflux. I suffered from severe debilitating acid reflux because in poverty, you're stuck on processed high acidic foods, which results staying up 3 times a night because your stomach acid's coming back up repetitively, and you can't do anything besides take another Tums and hope maybe, just maybe, it'll work. The health, aside from mental health and the physical health benefits, my physical health is in a lot better of a position than it was even 6 months ago. I can run, I'm healthy, I'm having an easier time breathing. I haven't had to go to my doctors on a monthly schedule like I used to. Don't have to go to my dentist on a monthly schedule like also I used to. I haven't seen my dentist in 3 months and I couldn't be happier. And I'm also applying for college. I'm hoping to go to Mohawk for a social service work diploma, though I do have some other ideas such as public speaking or politics, or one that's totally out of left field, nail technician. But aside from just college, I've been able to help myself, to help others, and if it wasn't for basic income, that wouldn't be possible. I didn't realize how badly broken our social service systems were until I received basic income, and I looked at the difference and I'm like, this isn't right. And that's actually one of my biggest regrets about being on basic income, is that only 1,000 of us are getting the funds. Everyone should have the feeling of dignity, of being able to know that they can care for basic income to be implemented. So that way, those of us, what happened with the Minicum experiment, where they take the data and they shelve it for the past couple decades, that can't happen with the data from this pilot project. And I'm sure most of us on the Living Proof group will say, there is not a chance in this world that we will allow this data to go quietly into a closet to be shelved for another 20 to 40 years. To thank everyone, all the advocates for universal basic income, for their tireless advocacy over the past couple decades to ensure that we have what we have now. It may be a basic pilot, but it's a step in the right direction. As a whole, as all of us in the National North American Basic Income Conference, we all need to keep the pressure, not just on the media, but on the governments, on your local politicians, to ensure that basic income is implemented, not just in Hamilton or Canada or the US, but everywhere. Everyone has the right to a basic income to be able to feel safe and secure and safe housing on top of that. Because you can't have housing with the income levels we have, or at least good housing anyways. But we need to work together and we need to keep the momentum going on basic income, and yeah, we're doing great and let's keep it up.
Thank you. We have 10 minutes for questions, so perhaps we'll do as the last panel, we'll have people line up at the microphone.
I want to thank you two. I've been reading and writing about basic income for a very long time. I speak to a lot of people about it, and I cannot do what you do. I can read somebody's account and repeat it. That's not what you do. And this is really important. We have not had anyone who can do the kind of things you do since the Seattle experiment closed in 1980. So you have a really important role, and thank you for sharing your stories. And I can't thank you enough.
Thank you so much. I echo that. I was really interested in how you in particular mentioned your relationship to food changing and how you're not, I just am wondering if you could expand what types of food are you able to eat, and your rituals around food. Are you able to actually relax and enjoy cooking food sometimes and things like that?
Actually, yeah, I have to say probably one of the most interesting things about buying vegetables is growing up in poverty. I have no idea what half these vegetables are. I'm buying them, and I'm having to Google how to cook them, never mind, and storage them, and that's been such an interesting experience. I learned how to make spaghetti squash recently. Love it. Love it. I've been missing out for 30 years.
I'd just love to hear, you talked about how it was a big difference between the ODSP, I think you're on, versus this, and I'd love to hear about, how it was actually different.
Well, one of the biggest difference would be is that on Ontario Disability Support Program, as I lived in subsidized housing, I only received $722 a month. And that was after rent was paid. So I'd be left with, I have furniture rentals because I can't afford to buy furniture brand new, so I do rent to own all my furniture. That bill was a little bit pricey each month. I have cell phone bills and I have other bills I was paying on. Basic income, I'm receiving $19.15 now. That is almost triple what I was receiving. I actually had the option of moving out of my housing, which is something that was not possible on ODSP. I would consider my housing substandard at this point. Now with basic income, I can actually move out. I can afford the healthy food that I was unable to afford before, such as fruits, vegetables, meat, dairy. All of that is rapidly becoming unaffordable for those on social assistance, and now I can actually afford it. I hope, did that cover the question?
Yeah, cool. Can I ask another one? Was there anything else beyond the money part? Or is it mainly
just
that?
The mental health, I'd have to honestly say, has been the biggest difference in the fact that I'm so stable. I'm able to move forward for my life. I have dignity. I have freedom. I'm not having to report a $50 gift to my ODSP worker because someone gave me $50 for my birthday to help out with food.
That's a good example. Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, I'm also somebody that does an awful lot of reading and writing about a basic income idea, mostly the idea of a demogrant. What you're saying depresses me so much. You're the lucky 1,000. for every one of you, there's 1,000 more people in Ontario who are just grinding away in desperate poverty, and there's nothing going to happen to help them anytime in the near future. To do that, you need to implement a demographic model of a basic income. That's not going to happen very soon. It's still going to take a huge fight. You can't do it with the kind of negative income tax that Ontario is doing. But I wish I could be optimistic that the kind of poverty people are talking about is going to be eliminated forever. But unfortunately, it's not happening all that soon. All I can say to people is, I'm very glad for you. Okay, bye now.
It wasn't a question per se, but I'd like to respond to it. I think it's easy to get caught up in the negativity of how the last several decades have been and the trends, and I see that happening in economics, and I see that happening in politics, and I see people saying incrementalism is the only thing that happens, but I also see enormous changes happening, granted the wrong direction right now, but the people have shown themselves to be ready for a big change, and I think the only thing we can do to take advantage of that energy is to jump in with both feet. If we say that it doesn't seem like it's going to happen, it's never going to happen, then all due respect, I think you're making yourself one of the people that's helping it not happen. I think we all need to embrace the opportunity and join the movement and allow for the opportunity to be heard if it doesn't happen exactly as we plan. But we need to share ourselves and expose ourselves and try for something big. Or you're right, it won't.